got to break through that thing that's holding you back. You got to break through that obstacle. And once you do, mentally, then you can roll. So like right now, man, it's that blizzard, and my fingers are cramping up, and I just know I got to keep moving. I got to keep calling my customers. I got to keep writing those. I got to keep building those relationships. And then on the other side, we're going to break through, and it's going to be better than you think.
So the big question is this: how do most agents who don't have access to the secrets that the top agents in our industry hoard to themselves grow and prosper in today's real estate environment? That's the question. And this video podcast is the answer. I'm Pat Hyben, and welcome to Real Estate Rockstars.
Real Estate Rockstars, this is Aaron Amuchastegui. Just got done interviewing Rob Commodari. I think you guys are really going to like this guy. He talked about growing up having so much hustle. Talked about going and, shoveling snow, freezing, everything else. And he kept going to make sure he met his goals of the day and how he applies that to all of his life now. He has a new book that just came out. A lot of it super applicable to what's going on right now with the middle of, sheltering in place and coronavirus and all the weird stuff. But he also got 8 deals in contract last week. So he's out there hustling, making real estate happen right now while a lot of the world's sitting down. He's going to give you great advice to not take your foot off the gas and keep going. He also sees kind of this little break that we're taking is just like a late spring. He says, hey, during the winter, there's no sales. As soon as winter's over, there's a flock of buyers that come out. He thinks it's going to happen like this. So let's treat what's going on right now as just a delayed spring and come out swinging. Hope you guys like it. Rockstar Nation, this is Aaron Amuchastegui coming to you live, talking today to Rob Commodari. Rob, how's it going, man?
Going great. How are you today?
I'm good. It's one of those times we're recording this during our crazy time where everybody is kind of working from home, sheltering in place, dealing with everybody's, webcams and things like that. But everything still seems to be functioning. People are surviving. What's everything like where you live?
Well, we are stay at home, as you know, but we are allowed to. We're an essential service here in Baltimore, and we're allowed to conduct real estate. Quite honestly, I've been really busy. I've put like 8 houses under contract in the last 10 days. So I got to be happy about that. I consider myself very blessed.
Yeah, real estate's definitely an essential service. We've been talking about it a lot on our state of the market kind of news briefings recently. And when we start to look at it, it is kind of surprising, right? So I guess maybe it's not surprising, but we've seen a lot of transactions happening. We see people listing houses right now. We see people buying houses right now. It's kind of like, even though this happened, people still have a need to move or a need to buy. Do you think it's sped anything up? Do you think it's slowing things down? Or do you think it's just had a very little impact?
Well, there's an impact there overall, but I think what's happening is, we lag. The real estate industry lags. Now, back in 08, 09, the real estate was the first thing that crashed, and everything else followed suit. We're like I think if we're going to have a problem, we're last in, but I think we'll be first out, if that makes any sense at all, because the stock market's already crashed. We got this virus going on, and February was like the most explosive February they've had in years. So everything was all set to be a banner year in real estate, and then this hits. So there's people. We already had a shortage of inventory. That was already there. Shortage of inventory, excess buyers. So what I see happening now is like, I'm still busy because I'm closing the deals that I had, but there was people in play already. So bang, we were getting them under contract, whether they were listing or buying. But now the question is, with the stay at home, how many people are going to be afraid to even go out? How many people are going to be afraid to list their house on the market? But there's a work around that too. If you do a virtual show and you do a virtual open house. So time will tell. So when I said earlier we lag, well, I might not be able to put 8 deals under contract in the next 10 days, a month from now, because the things have slowed down somewhat. Prices have not gone down. Now, there are going to be buyers out there that believe, I can get a deal because they want to sell their house. There's still a shortage of inventory. There's still multiple offers being had out there. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah. Well, those are all really good points and some good insight from out where you're at. So tell us about yourself. Where'd you grow up? Where you're from? How'd you get into real estate?
So I'm originally from Northeast Baltimore City. Grew up one of 7 kids in a 745 square foot house. Some kitchens are that big these days, right?
Yeah.
So 7 of us, we had one bathroom. Grew up Blair Edison community in Baltimore City. So I started work when I was 11 years old. I had the good old paper route, and I paid my way through high school, Catholic high school, and I paid my way through college. And when I got out of college, I eventually came home here to Baltimore. I went to college down in Florida, and I came home to Baltimore, and I started at T. Rowe Price. I was working at T. Rowe Price. I worked there for about 4 years. But in the process, I was working weekends. I was helping a buddy of mine deliver newspapers. At that point, they had these things that were called agencies, and you had like 3,000 customers. So while I was working at T. Rowe Price and helping this guy on weekends, a big agency came open in downtown Baltimore, Federal Hill, Locust Point, Pigtown area of Baltimore, and which was right in the middle of revitalization or transformation, I should call it. And so I was there 1:30 every morning delivering newspapers, and I was watching these boarded up windows come down and new windows going in. I was watching formstone come off the walls and brick going up or getting repointed. So I was right in the middle of it, and I'm watching this transformation, and I'm seeing all these realtor signs go up, and you saw the same names in the same areas all the time, and it piqued my interest. And so my wife had got pregnant with our second child, and I'm like, I'll get my real estate license. So I wanted her to stay home. I got my real estate license, and I started working real estate while I was working at T. Rowe Price. I started real estate as I was still doing the papers because I eventually got out of T. Rowe Price. So
you started real estate kind of as a side job, and it sounds like, and when you did that, the idea was that way you could kind of pick up a second job so your wife could stay home, and then you started to grow this, and then eventually you transitioned 100% all the way into real estate.
Yeah, that's what happened. And the I guess the coincidental thing, you could say ironic thing was if you're a goal-oriented person, like my wife, she was due to make like $42,000 that year. And I'm like, all right, I'll pick up this real estate job or career and I'll try to make 42 grand to offset it. The funny part about it is I made $41,000 that first year of real estate. Now I netted one.
Right. Yeah, it didn't quite work. That's so much of what we end up talking about sometimes is what do we get with gross revenues versus net, and how do you grow that team? So tell us about how many transactions you doing? How many transactions you doing in the last 12 months?
We did 104 transactions last year.
All right, and then
we've been averaging that for about 5 years.
You said you've been doing about 100 for the last 5 years.
Yeah, about that. Yes. Awesome.
So you just stayed nice and steady. What's that average sales price over there?
Right now, my average sales price is about $287.
All right. You do more buyers leads or listings?
I'm heavier on the seller side. It's more 55-45, sometimes 60-40, depending on the year, to the seller side.
So how do you continuously get 100 deals a year?
Work, work and discipline, right? I don't know. I'm part of this coaching program. I've been doing it for 17 and a half years. I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but it's the Brian Buffini program.
Okay.
And it's a system. And there's a million systems out there. And you can take any system. And I'm not going to say one is better than the other. But if you take a system and you work it and you're disciplined in that work or that application, it will work for you. So it's all about doing business. This system's about doing business by referral. And it's about building the relationship. So that's what I've done.
All right. So getting referrals, being able to build up there. How long have you been part of that coaching program?
About 17 and a half years.
That's a long time. So you've been part of it. You use the same system all the time. In the last 5 years, it's held you nice and steady. Yeah.
Because what happens, I guess one of the most important parts about the system is tracking, knowing your numbers, knowing how many contacts I got to make to get a referral, how many referrals I need to get a deal. And what all those ratios translate into. And when you know those numbers, what it does at the end of the day, it takes anxiety out of it. Like if I go a month without a referral, am I stressing out? Yeah. But if I know my numbers, I know at the end of the year, consistently, I'm averaging 240 referrals a year. I'm going to be okay. So it ebbs and flows.
It's important to think about in real estate, right? For all the agents out there that you should look at stuff on like a 1 year basis instead of a 1 month or a 2 month. Because it does ebb and flow. You could have 4 deals 1 month, 4 fall out next month, and then they come back. And so it's really easy to have that up and down swing. But if you start to focus on like your annual goal like that, I think that's a much more solid way to go through it. A lot easier.
It's extremely helpful, and then it takes anxiety out of the equation.
So right now, as we're in coronavirus time, we're shelter in place. What are you doing with your goals right now? Are they, have you looked at your annual goals and said, hey, the year is still going to be what it is. We just might have a bumpy couple weeks or a bumpy couple months. Are you starting to relook at that, changing strategies? What changes have you made in the last 2 weeks?
So I think whether strategies or tactics that have to change, because look, let's assume we are going to have a 30, 60, 90-day slowdown. Let's assume that, right? There was just a podcast a week and a half ago that Brian Buffini did with Dr. Lawrence Yun. He's the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors. And it was very encouraging. So as I've said earlier, there is still a shortage of inventory. And when it's like we're going to be in this 12-week or 8-week blizzard where you can't do anything. And people are stuck in their houses. And what happens in the wintertime when we hit spring and people come out of the winter, there's a pent up demand and everybody hits the market, right? So you could almost look at it like I'm preparing myself that I'm going to do 12 months of business in 9 months when we come out of this.
We have a delayed spring.
I'm sorry?
Just like having a delayed spring. You're like, we're used to coming out and firing, so that we're just going to go a couple months later.
Exactly. I think you have to be healthy physically and mentally during this time. Are there going to be days where I get frustrated or I get down on myself or down on what's going on? That's probably going to happen. But if you have the right mindset and you go and you tackle the right way, bang, coming out, you can't say, okay, after this is over, I'm going to start. You got to start now. You got to start right now. And as part of the tactics is like, okay, how am I going to show a house to a buyer right now? Well, if me, the listing agent, say I'm the listing agent and I have a seller and I have an agent that has a buyer, let's get all four of us together on a Zoom call and have the homeowner take us through their house on a Zoom call with all four of us on the call.
Yeah.
And we can show a buyer a house that way. Are they going to buy it virtually? Maybe not, but they could at least almost do like a letter of intent where we'll make an offer to buy contingent on us viewing the house within so much time. So, right. So that's the one thing. The other thing I think is really important, Aaron, is during this time, like my mission statement is to love, serve, and care. To love, serve, and care people, to put them in the best position to either buy or sell a house. And right now, I'm not calling my clients and saying, hey, do you have a referral for me? I'm calling to let them know that I'm calling them because I love them, I care for them, and I want to know how I can serve them right now. Whether they're stuck in their house and they need me to go to a store and get a bag of groceries, or they need to get to the store and get some medicine, I'll drop what I got to do and I'll go do that for them if I have to. It's not a problem. But if we show people that now, when we come out of this, they're going to refer you. And the other side of that is that I'm calling every one of my clients over the next 30, 60 days. I'm calling every one of them, letting them know I'm there. I'm writing every one of them a note. Every single one I'm going to get a note from. So that's part of what I'm doing now.
That's a great habit. That's a great habit that anybody right out there can do right now, right? All of our new agents that are listening, all of our established agents that are listening, calling everybody that's in your list, whether they're a prospective client, past client, the people that you reach out to, calling all of them, sending a personal note to all of them, just make sure they're okay right now. We've had a lot of that lately of trying to, be of service. Like, part of real estate, we're always trying to reach out to people and say, hey, what do you need? Do you need to buy? Do you need to sell? When do you need to sell? How much do you need to sell for? Figuring out what your clients' needs are. Right now, their needs are a little bit different, but real estate agents are poised to serve. You guys have that server mindset already. And so it's a prime opportunity to go out there and serve. Especially, I really love the mindset you have of, hey, this is just a delayed spring. When we come out of this, we're going to come out swinging.
Right. Yeah, I think you have to, And Aaron, if I could add something, there's three questions that I was on a Zoom conference call last week, and the three questions came up for us to ask our clients in this situation. First of all, ask them, what do they need right now? What do they think people need right now? And in that answer, you may hear an opportunity of what they specifically need, that person. And then the next question would be, hey, what's your biggest fear? It could be financial, losing a job, their health, whatever comes up. And then the third question is, this is where you're kind of, you're asking for a referral or not without really asking for it. You're just putting a plug in that, hey, to let them know you're still here for them. And that's that, you know, it would be like, Aaron, me as your real estate agent, what do you think I could do to serve your community?
Right.
And so you tell them you're still a real estate agent and you want to serve.
Real Estate Rockstars. This is Aaron Amuchastegui. And as you know, when you've been hearing these episodes, so many of our guests give us lots of free gifts and share the tools they've been using to become successful. We've got free real estate tools, scripts, ebooks, marketing materials, and more. We keep track of everything in our vault, and it's updated with new items each and every week. If you want access to that stuff, it's totally free for being a listener. All you have to do is go to agentsuccesstoolbox.com, agentsuccesstoolbox.com, and get your free gifts now. Yeah. So what do you need? I'm doing okay. And you're like, well, what can I do as a real estate agent to serve your community right now? It's reminding them it's there. It's telling them it, you know, especially because maybe people don't want to ask for help right now. So you being able to say, hey, how can I help serve your community? I could see that being the thing that continues that conversation and pitches them back to you of how you can get into action. Yeah,
I think so. I think you're right.
Let's go back like early in real estate for you, the first year or two. What was a big mistake that you made that looking back, you're like, wow, I either learned so much from that, I should have known better than doing that, or it totally changed the way you've done real estate since then?
Well, I think, you know, one of the mistakes, like I have a small team, and, you know, when I first started, I was doing everything. And so then you start to delegate, and I'm a doer, you know, it's hard for me to let go of things sometimes. So, you know, sometimes I just hire somebody just to say, okay, here, do this, do this, do this. And I didn't take the time to train properly. And it's almost like put systems in place. Like mistakes I've made is I haven't put systems in place first. I just threw bodies in the seat. So I think it's important to have like policies and procedures or systems in place, and then be slow to hire. It's very slow to hire, which I haven't done, you know, and be quick to fire. So when I do it over and over again, I'm slower to hire and, you know, pull that trigger quick, give them 30, 60, 90 days. And if they're not cutting it, then it's time to go.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great advice, especially right now, right? In real estate, we are going into uncertain times. Like hopefully it's just a 1 or 2 month break, extra delayed spring, just like that. But any time that stuff is a little uncertain, a little bit weird. And to me, it's uncertain because this has never happened before. There's stuff that has been like this. We're talking about 2001. We're talking about 2008. Like there have been times when we've had major kind of resets and changes, but it's never been like this. We've never had the whole world staying at home. We've never had everything kind of put on hold, but also this government stimulus to say, hey, we're just going to make it a blip. We're going to cancel it out. So this is totally unheard of, totally new timing. And so, yes, being able to say like, hey, as you get ready to hire, it is uncertain. So be clear. What I try to tell people too is I made the same mistake early on in my businesses, because as soon as you like start to have like a task you don't like, you go, man, I need to hire somebody to do that. Right. As soon as it's like, or as you start to scale, it's like, oh, I need to focus on this. I want to grow. I need to hire somebody. I really wanted to hire people. And now I try to tell people, you know, as soon as you're like starting to think about that, start writing down what they're going to do and write down what they're going to do that first week. And so it's like the day I hire somebody, have your list. You know, this is what they're going to do the first week. Because sometimes it's like, oh, I don't like filling out that part of the disclosure form or getting that part of the document or using DocuSign. And so you start to just, I need to hire somebody for this, but start to make that list to make sure you can at least fill up a week. I think sometimes we realize we'll hire somebody thinking, oh, they're going to do all this stuff. And you've only got like a day's worth of work for them. And you go, uh-oh, now what am I going to do? Or they're running wild, or they've got nothing to do. And those sorts of things.
Yeah. My biggest fear when I hire somebody is that they get bored. You know, I don't want them bored. I want them busy, you know, and like, but if I'm busy doing and I don't have time to train them, then am I really training them?
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's always been a struggle in the real estate world. But if you have the appropriate, like as I'm working along now and something happens, I create a system, I create a policy, put it in a book or put it in a file, you know, and then when that person comes on, bang, there you go. You got your system, you got your policy or your procedure in place. If I train you how to do a listing, now we can video it. We can video us doing that, and I save that for training later, right?
Yeah. It's especially good advice right now. We've always been doing trainings. Not everybody has been doing video stuff, whether you're using Zoom or anything else. It's really easy to record. So right now, anything that anyone's doing out there to retrain agents, to talk to buyers for future stuff, record it. Like you can record the video, you could save it for later. As soon as it's done recording, document it somewhere with lots of like words that are searchable, whether it's Gmail or somewhere else, and go, hey, this is that time I trained the guy with this. We've got a lot of great info right now. So easy to record and build up those big systems. If people are just figuring out how to get started right now while they're working from home, I think it's a great time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So tell me about your book. So right now we've got it up behind you for the listeners that are seeing it. It says Better Than You Think, Developing Awareness for a More Fulfilling Life. What made you decide to write the book? When did it come out?
So it got published back in November, and the long story is it took 15 years to do. The short story is it took 3 years. And what I mean by that, I had a goal. I wrote a goal back in 2005 to actually to write a book. But I'm a personal growth junkie. I've been reading books I started reading July of 1990. I read my first book, The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino. And since then, I've probably read about 900 books. And I just love personal growth, and awareness is I think the foundation for everything. So this book is really about awareness. And the more awareness you have about what's going on inside of you, what's going on around you, what's going on inside of others, the more fulfilling life you can live. So it's a book deep in awareness, deep in reflection, and deep in like lessons of experiences you've had. So the way I wrote it is I'm sharing, like, awareness is the first chapter, like a story that hit me about awareness or how I get more awareness. And you may have been doing something in your life that you never realized that's a way to get awareness. And then I just shared a story that resonated with you. Now you know how to get awareness, or it's resonated with you. So it's a book of stories and lessons, and how the reader can apply those lessons in their life. And like there's like right now, I mean, I guess a little bit of shameless self-promotion. One of the chapters is awareness. Are you aware of what's going on right now? Another chapter is acceptance. We can't change what's going on right now. We can't change it. It's here, So we have to accept what is, but we can change going forward what we do to handle situations like that, right? Yeah. Another chapter is the seasons of life. This is a season. We're in a season right now, and who knows how long this season lasts? Is it a month? Is it 2 months? Is it 6 months? We don't know how long the season is going to go. But what lessons can we learn in this season? And then the other chapter that's in the book is perseverance. So how do we persevere, whether you're a realtor, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, whether you're a school teacher, who knows? How do you persevere? How do you learn how to persevere through the tough times?
So tell me about the story. So in the book, on the acceptance chapter, what story do you lead with when you're trying to teach people how to get acceptance?
So so it could be emotional acceptance. Like, some people have a problem. Like, it took me 15 years to write this book because I couldn't accept the fact that I think I could tell stories. I had to lower self-worth, and I'm like, who's going to listen to my stuff? Who's going to read my book? Who's going to, who am I to think I'm going to be an author, right? And you got to you got to persevere through that. So one of the acceptance issues is, like, we all tell ourselves stories. Things happen. So one of the early stories in the book is about, and this is crazy, this goes way back to when I was 5 years old. I have a sister that's 364 days older than me, right? And so what they call Irish twins or something like that.
Yeah, so there's all sorts of versions of that, yeah.
Yeah. So we had a birthday party, a shared birthday party, and we invited these people, and it was at a friend's house, and everybody that came out, one after the other came from my sister and didn't come from me. So finally somebody comes up and has two gifts, one for my sister, one for me, and it was a game I already had, Chutes and Ladders. And I already had the game. And so, in that moment, there was the woe is me. Nobody likes me. Nobody came for me. Nobody showed up, blah, blah, blah. Well, the story you tell yourself is, I'm not worthy. I'm not worth it, And so the way you coach yourself out of that, the simple story is the people that invited for me couldn't make it, right? Nobody liked Rob. So I had to accept what it was. I had to accept that situation for what it was. But going forward, you can't tell yourself stories in a negative context, no matter what happens in your life. It is what it is, and then you go forward. That make sense?
It does. So how about a story as we go through right now? It's perseverance, right? So the big thing in there, if you were going to take one story from your life and the one that you're grabbing back to yourself now, as you think about what you're about to go through, what maybe we're going to go through over the next couple of months. What's that story you have that's fueling you?
So this is God, I guess I was 11 or 12 at the time, right? And I had this little paper route. And I just had these goals. And I don't know why at that point I had these inherent goals or these embedded goals in my head. But so I was delivering newspapers. And when it came to wintertime, I would knock on my clients, because we had to knock on doors to collect the money to get paid. And when I would collect the money, I would say, hey, when it snows, don't worry. I'll come by early and shovel your snow and you can pay me later. Right. So, I mean, when it snowed, I remember back in, what was it, 73, we had a nice, or not 73, 77 or 78, somewhere in that time we had a nice blizzard. And I remember that I would walk out of my house, whether it snowed 2 inches or 10 inches, and I was not coming back home till I had $100 in my pocket. And so, so if it was freezing cold or sleeting and rain and your fingers start to hurt, your toes start to cramp up, and I had $50 in my pocket, I'm like, I'm not stopping until I got $100. So you got to persevere through that, right?
Yeah. How old were you doing that?
I'm sorry?
How old were you?
I'm guessing 13, somewhere around there. And so for whatever reason that was embedded in me, it was. And, but I would like, how do you get through that pain? How do you get through that mental toughness? Like, I got to work through this and it's going to work itself out. And what would happen is like your fingers, your toes would like lock up and get frozen. And I would just keep moving your hands, keep moving your feet, keep moving them. And then all of a sudden they would warm up, so it's like, you got to break through that thing that's holding you back. You got to break through that obstacle. And once you do mentally, then you can roll. So like right now, man, it's that blizzard, and my fingers are cramping up, and I just know I got to keep moving. I got to keep calling my customers. I got to keep writing those. I got to keep building those relationships. And then on the other side, we're going to break through and it's going to be better than you think.
Yeah, better than you think once you break. I saw that as like a meme online earlier today. It was like, if you're going through hell, keep going.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're struggling, you got to keep going.
Yeah, persevere.
All right. So let's see. I guess one of the last things, Rob, is there any last advice you would want to give to real estate agents out there for either their first year or now, or what's the last big action you would give them?
Well, if you're new to the business in first year, have a database, man. Get your database together and start with 200 people. Because that way, if you got 200 people, you got 20 business days in a month, you can call 10 people a day and start building relationships with them. So, get a database, have that. The other thing is, like, in this time frame right now, even though I talk about it like being a 12-week blizzard, don't sit home and do nothing and take it as a vacation. This is the time to double down on those phone calls, double down on those notes, double down on building your business or working on your business. What strategies, what tactics can I change coming out? So it's like double down time, not double out, not get out, get in,
Yeah, I think that's great. It's right now. It's time to go out. Don't take a 12-week break. Be ready. Work hard, double down on your business, and be ready to come out swinging. So Rob Commodari, how can people find you? If they want to find you online or find your book, what's the best way to reach out to you for advice? Yeah,
you can reach me at Rob. It's Rob at robcommodariauthor.com. I got two websites. I got the website for the author and website for real estate. So it's Rob at robcommodariauthor.com. And then you can reach me. I can give you my phone number if you want. I'm happy for you to call me. But you call me 410-262-7396. And the website is robcommodariauthor.com.
Awesome, Rob. I think that book sounds awesome. Thanks for coming on here. I hope everybody listened and got some advice on how to push through and keep on pushing, because once they break through, it'll be better than they think.
There you go. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate it.
Coming on, Rob.
Take care.
Rockstar Nation, thank you for listening to Real Estate Rockstars. Listen, I need a favor. If you find this free content helpful, if you find our downloadable items from each guest helpful, please, I need you to pull out your pointing finger. Yes, the one finger that points at people, and hit subscribe. Yes, subscribe. The more subscribers we get, the better we look in the ratings, and the easier it is to get guests like Robert Kiyosaki, Barbara Corcoran, all the players that are on $1 million listing in the different cities. All that stuff makes it easier the more subscribers we get. So please subscribe. And listen, there's a lot of places you can leave comments. There's a lot of places you can like. We're on Facebook. We have an Instagram page. Instagram page is I am Pat Hyben. The Facebook is Real Estate Rockstars Radio. Feel free to leave us comments there. The most popular form of commenting seems to happen on YouTube. Yes, for whatever reason, it's a very open environment. So just go to YouTube and go to Real Estate Rockstars Radio. Leave us comments there. Some of them we will read on the show. We love your feedback. So thanks, guys, and I hope you are having a great day. Oh, and also, listen, if you're going to subscribe and you haven't already left a review on iTunes, please do that too. Have a great day, and thanks so much, Rockstar Nation. I really appreciate you.